Hi, this is Becky Shulo with Art is an Advantage, and welcome back to my weekly video series where I focus on different art marketing strategies. So we've been working through a guide that I created called 7 Steps to Marketing Your Art to a Niche Audience. And we've been in step 2, which is a research step where we really are building the foundation for all of our marketing strategies to come. So in step 2, research, not only are we gathering information about our audience and learning more about them and what they're looking for and how to talk and communicate with them, but we're also finding resources that we can use to build relationships and find opportunities and actually do all sorts of things with throughout this entire process. Now, I mentioned in an earlier video that I was going to take a deeper dive into what I like to call the hotspots or hotspots for research. And one of these categories or the things that fall under the categories of hotspots would be online platforms. And really one of the most effective ways that you can gain a deep understanding of your audience and make inroads is by engaging with these online platforms. So what do I mean by a platform? So online communities, forums, social media groups. These places are full of discussion, opportunities for interaction that can give you information about your audience's preferences, their challenges, what they're looking for. And it's also, again, a great place for uncovering marketing and sales opportunities, potential collaborations, and really all kinds of things. So where do we start? In past videos, I've talked to you about, so you can go back and watch those, kind of the structure for how we set up a system for research. And you're going to have places that you want to go to on a regular basis. So we're going to go through some of the places that you can look for these communities. And I'm going to say right now in stage 2, we're going to talk about engagement more as we get it further into more of the steps. Right now, step 2, research. I want you to think when you're interacting in these groups and on these platforms, mainly the goal is listening and learning, okay? Not that you can't engage, but we're going to use this to find more out about our audience. So the first place that you can start are looking at the social media platforms that you're using. Facebook is still a really popular platform for niche communities. There are many groups dedicated to specific art forms, techniques, subject interest groups. And so by looking for those groups there and finding them, you can learn by jumping into those groups. And, you can just in the beginning be an observer. You're going to find and learn a lot there. So for example, let's say I work with an artist who paints a lot. One of the subject matters that she paints are old cars. So you might look for groups that cater to car and classic car enthusiasts or automotive art. There's all different. I actually plug that in to Facebook just kind of as an example, and there were so many different groups that came up. There could be groups around destinations. So, these groups are going to overlap with your target audience, and by joining in there, you're going to be able to learn a lot about them. And I will say, as far as social media goes, also Instagram doesn't have groups like Facebook, but you can still use it to connect with this audience by searching hashtags and then finding accounts to follow that would be relevant to your audience, okay? And then finally, LinkedIn also has a really big presence for groups. So you can search there and see what you can find. The next category would be independent websites or forums. So outside of social media platforms, you can find websites devoted to all kinds of things, right? And some of those websites give opportunities for people to interact with each other. So, for example, I've talked a lot in this series about my work in particularly with niche marketing in the bluegrass music industry. And so my client in that niche uses forums and participates in forums like the Banjo Hangout or Mandolin Cafe. And these are websites where there's an active community of fans, and they're discussing everything from their favorite instruments to upcoming festivals and, all kinds of things related to the instrument and then the music around the instrument. So they're giving a lot of information that can help that artist to find out what's going on in that niche, whether they're looking for popular festivals to attend or seeking, collaborations with other, maybe there's some kind of collaboration partner they can find on there to work with. And like, just as an example, I was on Banjo Hangout preparing for this, just kind of refreshing my memory. And I was noticing that someone made a comment like, where have all, like, I guess the participation on the discussion board has gone down. And the question was, where is everyone going? Because they're not like participating as much here in this forum as they used to. And so people were chiming in, well, this is where this group has gone, and they were mentioning some social media channels and whatnot. So you're going to learn, right there, we're learning, okay, this group is shifting from this site onto this other platform. So that's useful information. Now, switching gears a bit, let's say you're not focused on subject matter, but maybe you are looking to market your art in a particular way. There's a whole site called Art Fair Insiders, and that is a forum-based platform that gives the inside scoop on all the major fairs and festivals around the country. So there are some blog posts there. The person that runs the site posts information about upcoming festivals, but then artists that attend those events actually go on there, share their advice about participating in the event. They share, was it a success or not, why they think it was a success or not. So if you were an artist who is looking to build your business by going out throughout the country and attending these larger festivals, that would be a great place for you to go to do research. So it's not just, subject matter based. Sometimes it's around a business strategy. So you have to just really think about what you need to learn and then go find those online platforms. Okay. So tips for doing this, again, as I mentioned, I recommend if you haven't watched it, you go back and watch the video, and I'll put the link actually in the notes here, that you will, where I talk a little bit about like having a system for doing this, but basically some tips. One, identify the places that would be helpful, identify these platforms, make a list of them so that you can go back and visit them regularly on a regular basis. And as far as engagement goes, I would just say, if there's something that makes sense for you to jump in and engage with, by all means do it. But right now, I'm not going to focus too much on that because I'm going to do that later. But I would say just be mindful, particularly, well, with any of these sites, or whether it's a social media group or an independent site, most all of them, I think you will find there are some rules around engagement. So just be mindful that you're respecting the rules. For example, some may say, hey, you can go ahead and post whatever you want here, something you're selling, it's fair play. And in that case, you could post about your work. Other places might say, this is not a promotion-based board, please don't do that. And in that case, obviously, you just want to respect that. So I would say those are the tips, and get researching. And so in the notes, I always put the resources. I will put a link to the guide that I mentioned, the 7 steps guide. And I will also put some links to some of the other videos that I think relate to this one. So that's it for today, and I will see you next week. Thanks.